on an ambulance with my partner Brandon, and we've seen our fair share of disturbing cases. But when we met this psycho patient, I considered quitting my job forever. No one I tell this story to ever believes me because of how messed up it is. The area we had been called out to was right on the border of the U.S., extremely close to Mexico. We were in a taco shop getting some food when we got a call. Medic 11, responding. It was my turn as a patient person, so Brandon was driving. I was looking at the computer to see what the call was about, and the chief complaint said demons. We basically rolled our eyes at whatever person in dispatch put that in for, so we were 100% sure this was going to be some dumb call. Probably a psych call or toe pain. Little did we know this might be our last ever ambulance call. It was a long response. I mean, we're the closest unit, and I think we were about 12 miles away. It was way out in the desert. We pull off the highway and started going down a dirt road towards the house. It was the only house probably within 20 miles. As we roll up to the property, my initial assessment of the scene was, this is creepy as hell. There were no cars out front, it was pitch black outside, and the house was glowing by candlelight. You could literally see every window of the house glowing orange, and you could see what looked like hundreds of candles. So we started making demon jokes. We radioed in that we were on scene, and we start knocking on the screen door. The front door was open, and we could see inside. We could smell incense kind of smells, and the house was pretty smoky looking. This little tiny Mexican lady lets us in the house. No English. She's holding a rosary and repeatedly makes the sign of the cross. There were candles everywhere. It was instantly like 20 degrees warmer when we walked inside. Wax puddling in some areas. She takes us into the living room, and there is a 20-something-year-old male convulsing on the floor. The lady raised her voice and starts slapping me, and she points to a snake coiled up in the corner of the living room. It's a rattlesnake. She motions with her hands like a bite and clutches her arm and points to our patient. This is when we started panicking. We requested fire services so they could help us out and remove the snake. The snake was a good 9 or 10 opted away from the patient and seemed relaxed and not agitated, so started looking for the location of the bite to begin treatment. As I'm setting up, we start hearing screams coming from inside the house. Screams I've never heard before in my life. Like, fatigued last resort type screams. I look at the little Mexican lady and she looks just as concerned as me. Brandon goes down the hallway and I radio in again for police. Brandon comes back, grabs me by my collar and pulls me out of the house. I shouted at him, "What the hell are you doing? Get in." He jumps in the ambulance and locks the doors after I close mine. "This is messed up, bro," Brandon said. I asked him what was going on, and I'll never forget he turns to me and he said, "I just saw a guy eating his effing hand." That's right. Brandon went down the hall, turned into the first bedroom he could, and said there was a guy standing in the corner eating a bloody nub and with blood all over his face and body. Brandon landlines dispatch on his cell phone and told them what was going on. I remember he said, "How do I put this? We're on the set of an effing horror film." As we wait, the little Mexican lady comes out and falls to her knees crying and waving at us to come to her. Fire finally shows up and we get some confidence back. Strength in numbers type thing. We felt way less scared, so we all go in the house. The captain puts the snake in a sack. We get the snakebite victim all hooked up and the engine medic beelines for the hallway after we tell him about the guy bleeding in the first bedroom. The engine medic comes back. "I'm not effing going in there." The captain stops blowing out candles and goes down the hall. "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." We all stop what we're doing. The captain is even freaking the F out. "I swear to God that mother effer just floated." Instant goosebumps. "That dude just floated." Captain swears he walked into the bedroom and the guy was 4-ish FT off the ground spinning. Brandon and I look at each other as if to say, what in the actual hell is happening right now? Cops show up and detain the now combative guy biting his arm who just floated. We get the snake bite victim into our ambulance right before the captain almost requests a helicopter to have him airlifted due to the distance to the hospital and other factors in play. But we got him loaded up and we just bolt lights and sirens. Brandon is driving. I'm in the back of the rig with the patient. At first I couldn't tell if it was the better lighting inside our ambulance or what, but the patient looked so much better. Like, fine almost. His skins were good, heart rate normal. He just sort of was staring at me. I looked everywhere I could within reason and found no signs of bite or any bite marks. He just laid there on the gurney all peaceful and quiet. We offload him and Brandon and I just sort of scratch our heads at first and then go WTF. Since we were still technically covering this district, we had to return to quarters and we catch back up with the crew from call. Fire crew said the same thing with that guy biting his arm. As soon as he left the house and got into the next ambulance, he started freaking out that his hand was missing. One of the firefighters was Mexican and spoke Spanish and said that the little old lady said these two guys just appeared in her house. She was watching TV and they just popped up out of nowhere. She said they were speaking like the devil, so she called 911 and started reciting Hail Mary and lighting candles and sage. The captain was having an existential crisis over allegedly witnessing another person floating through midair. He said the guy was floating and just kept flipping and flipping and flipping over. A few weeks go by and we get information from one of the responding officers that both of the guys were from Mexico. Both stated they went to bed that night and woke up in that lady's house. Then we all started getting really into this and trying to figure out what happened. It's a lot of he said, she said, a lot of it's factual. I know exactly what I saw. Anyways, that's the whole story. It's definitely changed my perception of things. Call it religion or the supernatural.